Out with Charis. My name is Charis Agidibi, and you're watching Speak Out with Charis. If this is your first episode, better not be, but please subscribe and like, share, comment. Thank you. On today's episode, we have a very beautiful lady today, Miss Victoria.
Yes.
She's so beautiful. A story would touch your heart. It's a toxic relationship kind of story. So please do not go anywhere. Just stay tuned and listen to a story. So, hi Vicky.
Hello, Charis.
So we'd like to meet you.
My name is Victoria, Opara Victoria. I am a feminine care specialist, a sex therapist, and the founder of Venice Natural.
That's so very wonderful. That's really nice. You have your own business.
Yes,
You
yes,
have
I
things going for you. That's wonderful. So when I got your story, your email, you sent an email about how your relationship was. We'd love to hear that. We'd love for you to share that with us. So how did your story start?
Well, it started with my admission into the university. I was so young, I just got admission into the university. And, like every other young girl who come into the notion that, I get into the university, I get to meet Prince Charming, we venture into a relationship and probably might lead to marriage. So this was me in university. And after a while, I met this guy who I've known. I knew him in Port Harcourt, and my school was actually Benin. So,
You're school in Uniben?
no, not Uniben, Benson, that was at university.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I met this guy, and it was actually good because I've known him before coming to school. So it was something like you don't need to go through the process of knowing him all over again. Was somebody I knew, and we started this relationship, and after a while we started living together. And I think that was the biggest mistake
that you ever made.
That was the biggest mistake I made in that relationship. And we started living together, and the first time he actually laid his hand on me, we had this misunderstanding, and like every other girl, I was like, I don't want to eat. In fact, I'm not eating again. And I was like, no, you're going to eat this food. Why are you not eating this food? Like we had plans to go and get this food, and you say you don't want to eat the meal anymore. And I was like, you can't force me to eat. I don't want to eat. I don't feel hungry anymore. And we're actually outside in public, and then he held me so tight. His grip was so tight. It was forcing me to the food stand, and I was like, guy, leave my hand alone. And that kind of thing, like I hit him. I made the first move.
Yeah.
I take fault for that. I hit him, and I was like, leave my hand alone. And the next thing, this guy gave me a very hot slap on my face.
But you hitting him doesn't still justify the fact that he slapped you.
Well, I've had most guys. When this happened, I wasn't a sex therapist or what I do now. So being a sex therapist, I've been able to talk to some guys who tell me if a girl hits first, they will definitely slap sense into her. So yes, I would want to take fault for that, for hitting first. And he hit me back. And the next thing, he raked me on the floor, like the way guys rake their fellow guys. He raked me on the floor, and he started giving me punches
in public.
It was actually at night. And then two people were passing by, and they tried to help me. And he said, "She's my girlfriend. I can do whatever I want with her." And I was just there crying. After a while, he picked me up
and apologize.
It does me. And I was like, no man has ever hit me before. Like nobody has ever done this. My dad would rather use, discipline me rather than doing this to me, beating me. There's a difference between discipline your child, like hands up, knee down, let me flog you, that kind of thing, and slapping, beating, punching your child.
Of course, there's a big difference.
My dad has never done that to me. I have 5 sisters. My dad has never done that to any of us. But here was somebody who I was supposed to be in love with, and he was doing this simply because I refused to eat that food. And, dust me up. I kept on ranting, raking. The relationship is over. I don't want to ever see you again in my life. And he escorted me back to the hostel. That I didn't want to go home anymore. I was like, I need to sleep in the hostel this night. He escorted me to the hostel. In front of the hostel gate, he was just pleading, begging, and I was like, don't worry, I'll think over it. And I went inside, and the next day we continued the relationship like nothing happened.
That's how it usually is. When it happens the first time, you just feel like it's just something.
It's like it's the devil.
It's your fault, like you said.
Exactly. So as time went on, we had our little fight. In fact, I've never seen that version of me in that relationship. I was too in love with this person, but when it comes to that violent part, I've never seen me display, because I'm this type of person. You would slap me and I'll keep quiet and I'll be looking at you. Who would? Who would? You would slap me and I'll keep quiet and I'll be looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, like, he hits me and I want to hit back.
Yeah.
Because it's different when you come out and say, oh, my boyfriend was hitting me, you understand, that kind of stuff. But he would also come back and say, this was the injury she inflicted on me.
Mm-hmm.
So he was bringing this
it was really toxic.
He was bringing this version out of me like I didn't know exist. I used to see myself as a very calm person. You could do things to me and I'll just overlook. But that relationship was just bringing some aspects in me that I didn't think. It was that bad sometimes. There was one time I took hammer and I wanted to just kill this guy, like that. It was that bad, because I knew my normal self, I wouldn't want to do that. But I was becoming more like him. I noticed I was becoming more like him in that relationship.
How long exactly did you stay in that relationship?
I think a period of 2 years. I stayed for 2 years.
So in that 2 years, yeah, if you don't mind me asking, it was more like you guys were always fighting, having back forth, quarreling, arguments, beating each other, basically.
Well, if you say always, it's more like we're fighting every month. It was more like the days we get to quarrel and he went to the violent aspect. He would plead. See, any guy who does domestic violence, any guy who beats up a girl, they are the sweetest person on earth. When they will beg you, my sister, go be listening and then beg you, so like they are so sweet.
You won't believe they're the ones that hit you.
Exactly. You even believe like this kind of person. You start saying but he's so sweet. He's so this. You start blaming it on the when he says it's the devil, you actually blame it on the devil, because you know that these guys are actually very sweet. That's why you find most women in Nigeria, they can't leave that relationship despite what the man is doing to them, because when they make up for it, they go to the extreme to make up for it. So in our relationship, we're not really fighting always, but the times we get to fight, like, it was that bad. And he would make these promises, I will never do it again, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And let's say a period of 6 months, he'll be a good boy, and after that something will just spring up again, and we'll have that fight.
That will happen again, and you have that fight. And sometimes when it happens, you feel like maybe there's something you've said that caused him to hit you, and
exactly.
all of that. It now becomes a normal thing, like, okay, he just hits me normal. Is that how you felt? Normal?
Well, I won't really say. I'm a very stubborn person. Sometimes you can be saying something that doesn't. You can't ask me to put my hand in the fire, and I will do that.
Of course not.
Except your God. It's only God that will say, put your hand and I'll put man, put your hand here. I'm not going to do that. And that was most of the things that resulted to our quarrels, most of the things that resulted to our fights.
So, in this relationship, yeah, how did the trauma, how was it for you?
Well, I could tell you that it really damaged me. It's one relationship that sometimes I feel like I should just go back in time and go back to the very first time I met him in school, and just walk away. Yeah, because as at then, my friends were always telling me, this guy, oh, he was such a fine boy. Don't blame me. It's not my fault. I like fine things.
Of course.
He was such a fine boy.
You were traumatized. Did there any lasting injury that you have of anything that happened physically?
Physically, no, because my skin is very thick and it heals. Like my bruises heals very fast. But emotionally, I think that relationship broke me to pieces because even till now, I still have trust issues.
Yeah.
I still tell you if you come to me,
especially when the guy is angry, maybe getting angry, exactly. You start feeling maybe they want to hit you or something.
If he hits me, I will give you like this. I don't take. It made me not take rubbish from any guy. When I see the symptoms, I walk away so fast. So sometimes it might not really be like, it might be a flash of what it should look like. I just want to walk away. I don't want to go down that lane anymore. So
think too much about it.
Emotionally, it broke me. Sometimes I tell people that I'm a broken woman. Please don't ask me for love advice. Ask me for sex advice, but love, no, because I'll tell you men has come. Just leave them alone.
But so, it's not your fault. Yeah. In total, because of what happened to you. Normal. If anything that kind of thing, you would not want to trust. Where if, like you said, in the relationship now, having another boyfriend, it's going to be hard to adapt to just staying in the house. I'm pretty sure maybe since that relationship, you've not actually lived with a guy for a long period of time.
If I stay with a guy, because 3 days, I'm uncomfortable. Like
it's very traumatizing, and you could just be thinking, okay, what if one day he hits you again? Yes. So basically, you're trying to say that you never actually came out from that point in your life.
Well, I think if I see someone who proves to me like this is, everybody has their definition of love in their head.
Yeah.
I have my definition of love in my head. And if I should meet someone who is trying, let me not say perfect, but trying to an extent. So yes, I would want to come out from that shell. But sometimes when I'm coming out from that shell and I see some kind of attitude, man, I'm just falling back in. Like, okay, I don't want that stress.
I would like to know, how did you leave that relationship?
Well, like I said, at first, I was living with him. And, when I noticed, like, this whole shouting, screaming, we're always having this misunderstanding, I wanted to get my own place. And so I left. And at that point, he started having accommodation issues too. So he was still my boyfriend. He had house need for this period of time. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Stay with me. And he started staying with me. The house was even way better than where
before.
Yes. And, I as a woman, when I put my man, I make him my lord, and even his flaws, I don't try to
first make him everything.
Exactly, I don't try to show his flaws to the public.
Yeah.
So most people did not know I owned the apartment. Most people thought he owned the apartment, and even when they bring their power bill, they take it to him. They don't bring it to me because they feel like a man is in the house, so definitely they're not going to hear say, "Nah, girl, the house, this guy," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then I have not started feminine care or sex therapy. I was into hairs. I used to make braided wigs to have money in school.
Yeah.
And one of those days I was making braided wigs. And that day, he went out, he came back, was just in the house. I prepared a meal. I cleaned up the house. He was just lying down. I didn't talk to him, he didn't talk to me, you understand? If you talk to me, I'll talk to you back. But he just lied down, I didn't bother to say anything. And towards the evening, a friend who I had helped reconcile his relationship, I met them through Facebook, and the girl contacted me, I helped them reconcile their relationship. He was coming to that area for the first time. And I was like, since you're coming now, I've not seen you before. Please buy me ice cream. They're not the constant or empty-handed, that kind of thing. So buy me ice cream and meat pie. And I even said buy 2. You understand? So that's to let you know that I was also thinking about this guy too. And then this person now came, and the person was already at the junction where I asked him to wait for me. And I stood up to get dressed, and then this guy just stood up and stood in front of the door. You're not going anywhere. And I'm like, who are you to tell me that I'm not going anywhere? He said, I've been in this house morning to evening. You did not talk to me. You did not look at my face. You didn't ask me what's up. Are you vomiting? No. Are you shivering?
Something wrong.
No. Have you eaten, right? Yes. So what's actually the problem? Like, if something was wrong, you should have at least told me, because I know he's this kind of outspoken person. And he was like, I'm not going anywhere. I want to go and see another guy. He didn't know that this was how I got to know the person. And he did not. I don't just know how to explain. Like, I don't know if it was the devil that just possessed him that day. And he seized my phones, because I had more than one phone. And he seized my phones and he said, I'm not going anywhere. And that other person was just calling and calling and calling. And I was like, okay, please, this person is waiting at the junction. At least put it on speaker so I can tell the person I'm not coming again. So he put it on speaker and I was like, please, something came up. I don't think I'll be able to make it anymore. And the person just said, boyfriend issue. I understand. That's too. If he had
a bad intention,
he had all these things and he still just wanted to make a fuss all over everything. So I dismissed that person, and this was us arguing, and started saying I'm a cheat, I do this, I do that. I feel like I know a lot of people in Benin. It was school that brought me to Edo State. So it was just saying lots of things, and say I'm a woman, I'm prompt to say some things too. You can't call me a slut and I'll keep quiet and I'll be looking at you. I will ask you, are you okay? That kind of thing. You didn't meet me on the street, so before you know it, it went into the physical aspect, and it was that bad. This whole argument started like towards around 6-5, and by the time it was 11 p.m.
you guys were still arguing.
It was already physical at that point. Like,
wow.
And I'm this kind of person. If I'm mad, I want to leave that space. Because I feel whatever is around the vicinity is toxic. It's a negative vibe. I just wanted to just go out. And he's this kind of person. When boys, they watch Korea film, that kind of stuff. Korea guys, they want to hold you. You're not going anywhere. And this is me, a Nigerian girl. I want to leave this place. And that was how I was like, you're not going anywhere. You must stay here. We'll trash this issue. Those type of things. And at the point, it was like, in fact, get out of this house. Move out of this house. Pack your things. Get out. It now dawned on me like, wait,
your house.
Wait, this is my place, and this guy is kicking me out of my own house. And it went physical, and he pulled my hair down the stairs. He was dragging me down the stairs, and because it was a story reading, he dragged me down the stairs. People could already hear us shouting. On getting downstairs, the neighbors were already downstairs, waiting hoping that the action upstairs could come downstairs. The security guy was, because it's like this compound where we have 4 flats and we're on top of the security, like a student's life, that kind of stuff. And everybody was already out. Married couples stayed in the compound. People who respected me.
Out already, because of the whole noise and everything,
And, he didn't even care that people were looking, At that point, the moment he said, don't go again, the moment I dismissed the other guy, I changed into something I was comfortable sitting at home with. I changed out of my outing wear. And something you sit down at home with is not really that covering, you're almost exactly. And he didn't really care that what I was wearing was short. I was, should I say, half naked in front of everybody who respected me, and they were trying to separate us, that kind of stuff. And still that's like, guy, you don't embarrass me, you don't show my nakedness. Like, I just wanted to just do something to this guy, and everybody was trying to calm us down. And he was like, I must not sleep in this compound. And I was like, see you that I give regard for this compound, like you're chasing me out of my place. And I told everybody, like, do you guys know I'm the owner of this place?
Because you were angry.
Exactly. And he was like, what do you mean? I gave you money to rent the place too, blah blah blah. And I'm like, how much did you give me, and how much do you think this apartment is? Like, you gave me quarter of the total sum of this apartment, so how much that you want to claim the apartment? And when I moved in, you didn't move in with me, so what's the whole fuss about? But because we're both angry, most people would have thought I was lying. Most people wouldn't have believed the actual truth, and I just wanted to leave. Even at that night, I wanted to leave that night. He was with my phones. I wanted to leave. I had blood all over me. It was that bad. And the married ladies were begging me, stay, don't go, it's too late. Benin is not a safe city to go out at night.
Exactly.
And I had to stay. I was sleeping at the staircase. The usual thing he always does, he boiled hot water to press my body. And all my mind was like, God, like, that kind of thing, like something you would not.
After everything, and you still come and still apologize.
My mind was more like, my father would not treat me like this.
True.
The person who took care of me, paid my school fees, who has done so much for me, would not treat me like this. And this is you who I'm giving my love, and this is what you're doing to me. And I was like, no, this has to end. And so I allowed him to do everything. He apologized. Most physical things like this end up with sex. And he wanted to do that again, like to make up. And I was like, no, my whole body is paining me today. We're not going to do that. Like, you pulled my hair, he pulled my weaves, like
everything.
He was already coming out.
You say you had injuries.
I had injuries, like I had blood on my body, like it was that bad. I'm like, no, we're not going to do this tonight. Just let me sleep and wake up till tomorrow. And then in the morning, was very early, like 6 a.m. I stood up and I'm like, I need to clear my head. I need to leave here. And he was like, are you still mad? I said, obviously I'm still mad. Look at the wounds all over my body. And I just said, give me one of my phone so that I'll call you when I'm coming back, or probably if I get lost. And he said, okay. He gave me one of my phone, and I just went out. I called one of my friends and I told him this was what has happened. And you know how guys can be, like, especially someone who has been admiring you for a very long time, and he said, oh, boyfriend, see, you were the beg since, answer me.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I would have taken good care of you, and look at what your boyfriend is doing to you. And I said I just wanted to teach him a lesson so he doesn't try this ever again. And he said, what do you want? I said, probably to just teach him a very good lesson. He said, how do you want? Do you want army or police? And because we're students, I didn't want to involve the military, because they might want to keep him way longer. I just needed to teach him a tiny bit of lesson, because he keeps doing this, and we forgive each other, and the same thing happens again. And so I just I went to the station. I explained what happened to the police officer. I trust female police officers now. Like, she was ranking, shouting, like,
she got
fine girl like you, they beat you.
She got him arrested.
They actually followed me to the house. Already, this guy, somebody that doesn't cook, doesn't clean. He had cooked, he had cleaned. It was that bad. Like, that last fight was like the biggest and the worst we had ever done. And he knew that I would not take it at all. He had cooked, he had cleaned, he just wanted to make it up to me at all means. And he was calling me like, baby, where are you? I prepared your fave, I cleaned the house. I was in the station, I was like, oh baby, I'm coming, just wait for me. And I came with the two police officers, and they showed them their badge and they arrested him. On getting to the station, he started crying, like, somebody who's always acting like a tough guy, started crying, and they were not even male, female. And he started crying, and at that point, this part of me, the part that had always loved this person,
I felt bad,
but I just knew like I needed to do this. Like, I'm not this kind of person who allows people push me around. I give you everything and then you push me around and I sit down there to look at you. So that was what happened. I got him arrested. Eventually I bailed him out, but
so
I passed the message.
After that arrest, and that was how your relationship ended.
Well, it took a while. The relationship did not just end like that. It took a while. We started talking. The love was not just there.
Was he still staying at your house?
I gave him. They actually threatened him to leave the house, and I gave him a period of a week to leave the house, and eventually left the house.
Okay, so there's this story that I heard from. It's on social media. A girl was actually ranting. She was excited, like, if a guy doesn't hit you, it doesn't show how much the guy loves you. So I would love to clarify that. I'm so sorry for like what you went through, but I want to understand, does when a guy hits you, does that determine how much a guy loves you? Like, did you ever feel like that? Like, okay, maybe when you were in your relationship, when he hit you, when your boyfriend hit you at that time, you felt, okay, his love, he's trying to show you love. Because most people still think that there's some people that actually enjoy being in a domestic violence relationship. Like, they feel like as their boyfriend or their husband or anything is hitting them, it's that love. If it doesn't hit you, then it doesn't love you, basically.
Well, I can tell you
it.
that girl, if you check way back down her history, she probably must have had a mom who she saw they were always hitting or something like that. That's not love. Somebody hitting you. That's not love at all. There are different ways to express love. Buy me gifts, buy me flowers, take me on vacation, take me shopping. Must you hit me? Hitting me is like what they do to thieves. So
I mean,
that's
some people
not
still
love
think
at all.
of that. So, but anyway, after that, like you said it affected your relationship. So till now, there's still no hope of, say maybe one day there'll be Mr. Right somewhere.
There is hope if I meet a Mr. Right who understands my love language. I just feel most people these days they don't take, especially Nigerian men, I'm sorry to say this, but Nigerian men don't take their time to get to know a person. See, there's a stage to this thing, acquaintance, friendship, and then you go into love and sex, and Nigerian men they just want to know your first name. You don't even know where you're from, if I'm from the river or something like that, straight up to sex. So if I meet somebody who takes the face to know me, who's not in a hurry to just have sex with me, yes, I would want, because it's for better, for worse. I think at this age I shouldn't just be doing things for sex. I definitely want to settle down. I want to have kids, and I want to settle down with somebody who, even if I grow old and weary, he would always be there for me. If I'm sick, he'll always be there for me. Everything is not just about sex, but the people I meet, probably because of my profession, the people I meet,
just sex they want.
Yes, just sex. Like when they hear sex therapist, they feel like, oh, this girl is so good in bed, like that kind of thing.
I understand. So anyway, I would like for you to, advise people watching this, anybody that could be going through what you went through, that's in a violent relationship, a toxic relationship right now. Maybe from your experience, just give them one or two words that'll be able for them to come out from that, whatever it is they're going through, that will be good enough for them. Just tell them something.
Dear Queen, if you're going through a domestic violence relationship, my dear, you need to wake up, because you're more than that. You're more than just the punching bag. You are someone else's prayer point. You're someone else's blessing. And if the current person you're with does not appreciate you, you need to wake up, stand up for yourself, and leave. You're going to die in that relationship. They're going to punch you one day and you fall down, and then you see your corpse down, and then your spirit is looking down at it. So speak to somebody you trust, probably your pastor, your parents. I know you're not telling your parent what's going on right now, but speak to somebody. And if you have a parent who still tells you stay in that marriage, stay in that relationship, my dear, leave. Because this life now one. Now only cats get 9 lives.
Exactly.
We don't know how true that is, but just leave. Find a way. You don't need to tell the person I'm leaving you. That's the mistake most girls make. Most women. I'm leaving you. You get. I watch movies. They say I'm leaving you, and then the next thing you're dead. Don't say anything. Let him go where he's going to. He comes back and he finds an empty house. You're not there anymore. If you have a kid, take your child, because your child needs the mother. If you die tomorrow, he's going to look for another woman, and then your child would be subjected to slavery or hardship. So you come first. You come first. You come first.
And also this goes both ways, because it's not just ladies that suffer from toxic relationships. It goes for both ways. For a guy too that is suffering from it too. Just take that advice. She said a lot of things. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. I hope you find the Mr. Right, someone that would love you for you.
I don't have rings on my hand. I'm not searching, but
thank you so much. You've heard her. please, if you're a lady and you're out there, you're going through domestic violence, you're in a toxic relationship, please find your way out of that relationship, because it's so not good. That's why it's called toxic in the first place. It's so not good for you. So please take advice. I beg you. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for today's show. Thank you very much. I've said so many thank you. Follow us on Instagram at Speak Out with Charis. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you to Charis.
And thank you for watching.